look into maybe participating in being a board member of the Ashtabula County Airport Authority, in my application. And spending much of my time in the leadership development role of leadership at Ashtabula County, it was very refreshing and really a privilege to work with a true leader. And the leadership of the Ashtabula County Airport Authority has really been instrumental in guiding the airport into the future and maintaining the legacy of the airport, and also finding a way to not only have a sustainable future, but be instrumental in economic development in Ashtabula County. I'd like to introduce the president of the Ashtabula County Airport Authority for the Northeast Ohio Regional Airport, Mr. Dwight Bowden.
It is my honor to be here with you this morning to tell you what we're trying to do with the Airport Authority. This is the only graphic of my presentation this morning. Jeff is the only thing that will look like an airplane as well. This is our new logo. It was part of our marketing effort. We renamed the airport from the Ashtabula County Airport to the Northeast Ohio Regional Airport for the purpose of better marketing our airport in the national economy. Robert S. Morrison will always be part of our title. Mr. Morrison had the vision to create the airport, and we're going to talk about that. I want you to think of the airport as part of the infrastructure of the county. It's part of the transportation infrastructure, so different than I-90, State Route 11, our ports, our rails, etc. And I think that's, frankly, what gets lost occasionally in the conversation when we talk about the airport. It is vital to the economy of the county. So I will tell you what we're doing here, and we'll see how this works. The title of my presentation is Vision. And Robert Morrison and the commissioners in 1965 created the Airport Authority. And every organization has a life cycle. And I'm going to tell you that we have the founders, there's Mr. Morrison and his team back in 1965. We have the users, which I consider our current board members, the people that help the airport in various roles, elected officials, customers, etc., and users. We're not going there. Our life cycle are the founders and the users. This was the resolution which created, I don't expect you to read that. I have copies for you to present after. This is the resolution that founded the Airport Authority. It's dated July 29, 1965. And I think that date is the first thing that you have to look at. In 1965, only about a third of the adult population in the United States had ever flown on a commercial airplane. It was the dawning of the jet age. Beechcraft King Airs, probably the most popular twin-engine turboprop ever built, had its first flight in 1964. DC-9s had its maiden flight in 1965. And when we talk about infrastructure, the interstate highway system wasn't even complete. I-71 ended at State Route 18 in Medina. So, Mr. Morrison had this vision to build an airport. I'm going to read you the first part of this resolution. The following resolution was presented by NASA, who moved its adoption, and seconded by Henderson, whereas the Board of the County Commissioners, after exhaustive study and lengthy deliberation, is aware that an adequate airport facility is a sober necessity as to ensure the growth, progress, and prosperity of the Ashtabula County, and by establishing it in a comprehensive a competitive position with other areas of the state of Ohio that will make Ashtabula County attractive to existing and new industry. And whereas an airport will be an asset to the taxpayers of Ashtabula County and a utility working for the good of all citizens, and whereas there are adequate supporting funds available from federal, state, and private sources for the establishment of an adequate air facility for the present and future needs of Ashtabula County. And whereas the administration of such facility is best served by an airport authority. Also in this document is that all trustees were served no compensation. The county prosecutor was to be a board member. Obviously, they need legal advice just like we need today. So what is interesting about this document is the fact that no local funding was mentioned. And obviously, we are accepting county funds. We respect every dollar that comes into the authority. We realize that before it gets to us, someone had to earn it and had to pay the tax, and it's being allocated to us. So that is not lost on the airport authority board. The product of Mr. Morrison's vision was a 5,200-foot long runway, 100-foot wide, jet-capable runway. It is absolutely no different than what Cuyahoga County has. We have 600 acres of real estate. We have an asset value in excess of $15 million. That's probably understated. You can make an argument that the asset is actually priceless because you can never buy 600 acres to build an airport today in the regulatory environment that we operate in. The economic impact is 31 jobs. Income to the county is $1.1 million. A total of $138,000 in state and local taxes, and a total economic output of $2.78 million. That economic impact was developed by Randall Wiedemann. It's a standard methodology that's used by the Department of Commerce. So the challenge is, how do we sustain the infrastructure asset? And I said that what we're doing is we're going to fix it, we're going to fund it, and we're going to run it. Fixing it comes in two forms. We have a 50-year-old facility, we have dated documents, we have maintenance items that need to be addressed, and I'll go through a series of those. Funding it, obviously we talked about the county allocation. Last year we received $95,000. This year we think we're going to need more, probably about $145,000. That's because of the continued decline in general aviation. But we do have other sustainable sources we're going to talk about as well. Running it, we're going to talk about the organization itself. Along with the money, we need sustainable leadership. We need continuity within the board, and we'll talk about that as well. I'm not going to go through all these administrative actions. There are many of them. A lot of these were then put together with the help of David Pontius of Andrews and Pontius, working as our legal advisor. We've updated our bylaws, rules, regulations, lease agreements. We established working groups within the board. We have a working board. We have lease committees, wildlife, branding and marketing. So we divvy up responsibilities amongst the board members and then make recommendations to the board. We have a business plan which we adopted, and we have a marketing plan which we have not abandoned ever. We have a hangar rental promotion that the goal is to increase our occupancy of hangars, and it's in effect. In fact, it's in effect until further notice. We changed airport names, as I mentioned, to give it a little more of a regional appeal. People may not know where Ashtabula is, but people can find Ohio on the map. They most likely find Northeast Ohio. And we are in a unique position. The FAA has recognized the airport as being important to this quadrant of the state. An airport of equivalent size, you have to go to Youngstown to the south, here to the east, or Cotter County to the west. So that's 50 miles away. We do full, if the airport would go away, there'd be a tremendous void in this part of the state. We have a brand new airport website, including social media. We're trying to do a better job of communicating with people locally, as well as potential customers we're trying to attract, and we're using social media as well. And Laura, frankly, is heavily involved in that part of it. We're playing the oil and gas card as well. John Morrison, who's our board member, is in the oil and gas drilling business. He suggested that we join the Ohio Oil and Gas Association. And Randall Wiedemann and John are preparing an ad in that publication to identify the airport as being a place to conduct business, land. John's convinced that oil and gas will get to us sooner or later, and we're preparing for that. The next item is a big one. ARC means Airport Runway Classification. C2 defines the category, and basically C2 is determined by the size of aircraft, but more importantly for our airport, defines the runway load bearing rate. The FAA, a couple of years ago, tried to offer us money to rehab the runway, but make us a B2 airport. B2 airplanes typically have weights not exceeding 12,500 pounds. Corporate aircraft today are relatively small, but they're very heavy. That's because of engine technology. So we fought hard to retain our C2 classification. It required us to do a traffic forecast for people in Chicago. We did that, and the basis for the forecast, frankly, was Spire Institute and the traffic that we hope to get from the oil and gas industry. We have a balance sheet cleanup. We had some old business on our balance sheet. We had a fuel truck loan for a 1995 truck that we actually had a loan with the county. The county commissioners graciously agreed to help us. We took $95,000 of donated money, sent it up to the county. They returned it to us, and we created a maintenance fund. We have no reserve accounts at the airport, so every time something breaks, we need to prepare being something that wasn't anticipated, obviously, we generally haven't budgeted for. So we have a maintenance fund. When we take money out of the maintenance fund, our motion, we have to determine how we're going to put money back into the fund so that it always returns ultimately to the $95,000 amount that was initially created the account. Again, we had another issue, the wastewater treatment plant ownership. They finally helped us on this one. Basically, the wastewater treatment plant was about a $400,000 investment. It was on our balance sheet, left our balance sheet, came back on, so it's confusion as to who actually owned it. And the county commissioners agreed that it truly is their asset. And so it's taken off our books, county books, and we're in the process of getting it all permitted and brought up to current standards. Mentioned the reserve, maintenance reserve account. We're in the process of developing a land management policy. We don't talk about agricultural leases or farm leases. And the reason we do that is because if we have a farm lease, the 600 acres becomes taxable. So we talk about land management and in terms of basically mowing the grass, making sure that minimize the wildlife hazards, and basically make sure that this property doesn't turn into wetlands mitigation issue. Other just general business things. updated the employee manual, create a minimum standards document which talks about commercial operations on the airport. We're in the process of developing a records retention policy, which is required by state statute. We have an operations manual, including an emergency plan. George Sabo helped us in that effort. I mentioned our TIF with the FAA. Frankly, the changing of the name of the airport into, frankly, my mind, being the tipping point. We had an individual we dealt with in Detroit, KDO, Airport District Office, that applied that if we changed the name of our airport, we could lose our instrument approaches for 2 years. We took exception to that, and frankly, it took us through completed the loop on the C2 situation. Joe Moraski, our engineer, Michael Baker, and a gal from Thompson Hine went to D.C. with the help of Congressman LaTourrette's office. That took us to Chicago. We had this name issue. And make a long story short, people in Chicago recognized we had a problem. They assigned us a new rep to handle our account, Irene Porter. She's 100% business. And our relationship with the FAA is, frankly, I don't think it could be better. We have what we call monthly submission calls. We have an action item list that we maintain. It's ongoing. And it's going to move us through the rehabilitation of the airport. As part of getting to the rehab of the airport, we have to do an environmental assessment. This is a $257,000 project. There's about 22 elements that are contained in this. There'll be public hearings about it, etc. It's a precursor that's required to do the runway rehab. I'm going to talk about the runway rehab right now. This is a big deal. Our runway is been with useful life, and basically where we stand, it's about a $6 million project that will take place between now and 2018, and it's in my mind, we call it a trifecta. What we're going to get is a complete runway rehab. I'm talking about ripping out the runway to the base. We're going to bring it up to the current safety standards. We have what they call a runway safety area. It was a result of an accident in Chicago Midway where a plane overshot the runway, went into the street, and hit a car, killed a child. So the runway safety area basically is a dog bone overrun that surrounds the runway. So we would end up with a full RSA, bring the airport up to current safety standards, and looks like we may get a runway extension, which is also part of our master plan. So we would go from approximately 5,200 feet to 6,000 feet. So it's a big deal. The current grants that we're operating under are 95.5. The current rule regulations are 90-10. So that's going to be part of our challenge. It's coming with the local match, and I'll explain that, how we're going to do that as well. Mentioned, well, we had an issue with our real estate tax valuation. We resolved that. Roger Corlett and Dave Pines worked on that. We just completed an obstruction removal project funded by ODOT. We moved approximately 22 acres of trees. And that ODOT grants are 90 with a 10% local match. We're doing things that we probably should have been doing for a long time. We're doing fire inspections. Will Burgess, our sole full-time employee, linesman, has attended wildlife control training, as well as professional line service training. The last item on this list is conducting an inventory of the airport. This was paid for with donated funds. And basically, we're assessing the infrastructure coming into the airport, whether it be power, broadband. We lack water, so that's pretty easy. But the roads coming into the airport, we met with Mr. Jason Wilson, the governor's office, a month or so ago, and he indicated that there are funds available from the state of Ohio that they're willing to invest if it creates jobs. So we're going to do this inventory, we're going to present it to him and see what, if any, grants we can get. We don't have broadband, we don't have water. Water is a big thing at the airport right now. We operate off of well that's marginal. So we're exploring other funding sources as well. Airport equipment maintenance, real quick. New security system, new phone system. Phone system allows us to, because we run unattended on the weekends and during the evening. Some of these voicemail on the airport phone, they push it out to a call list. And so if someone's coming in after hours or needs to be there before we open in the morning, we can receive the message and respond. We have our own computers, server, installed the water treatment system, new snow plow, new sand spreader. The sand spreader was actually in response to a safety concern by MFG. Spot ice on the runway during the winter, and so the grant from the Cleveland Foundation, we purchased this $15,000 spreader. Little thing, we needed something to move airplanes with. This one's sort of unique. John Morrison found, we looked everywhere to get a tug, and we couldn't find one. He found one parked at the end of the driveway outside of the Albion, PA for $1,500, so we snatched that one. We have a ground power unit. This is part of the extension of the idea that we're going to remain jet capable. This allows jets to plug into power on the ground. They operate their air conditioning systems, avionics, etc. We marked the runway and taxiway. This is all quality stuff. Improved our field quality monitoring. We just acquired a used broom truck from St. Louis. It's a Oshkosh with a 20-foot wide broom head. We've Bill Burgess and Tim Skidmore, who's an on-call snow removal guy, basically took two chassis that we got from Erie, I don't know, decades ago, had one running unit. We had a donated broom that we picked up at Burke Lakefront. This gentleman got everything running and clearly demonstrated that brooming the runway is the way to have a safe, clean, debris runway without any grit or sand. I think we have that. That's on our Facebook page, I believe. So if you want to see how that operates, this truck that provides redundancy. This is we bought it for $48,000, donated dollars. It is quite a piece of equipment. So it's all about we're trying to do whatever we do. We're trying to do better. We want to make sure that we've got some maintenance tools for a shop. A lot of steel building, which we may hopefully use as a new terminal building. Lance has been our crack sealing guy every summer. Tim Martin is kind enough to loan us the compressors and the hot pot to do that. And then we have some minor maintenance stuff. Money. This is, I think, of the concern of everyone, and rightfully so. This is what our revenue streams look like for 2012. We made $45,000 on fuel. We made approximately $100,000 on hangar rentals. The county appropriation was $95,000, and the donations were approximately $260,000. The donation part represents primarily legal and accounting to do all of those items that I just showed you. All the taxpayers have not paid for any legal expense or marketing expense, business plan, to operate the airport. At the end of 2012, we tried to end up absolutely breaking even. In November, we thought we were going to be short $35,000. We asked the county for an additional $35,000. The Andros Foundation was kind enough to give us 8, so it took us down to 27. And as it turned out, we ended the year end underfunded by $21,000, and that was to fund a divine retirement fund that would then roll into 2013. So the objective here is to minimize the impact on county money, funding, if you want. So I'll show you how we're going to do that. We're moving into what I call sustainable funding. Funding comes into the airport through the county or private donations, historically through the Morrison Foundation, and it's spent. There's no reserve accounts. There's no there's no conditions whatsoever, frankly. It just gets consumed. So I created the Sue's money, my wife, Sue. The Ashtabula County Aviation Trust, this trust was founded in 2009. It's an advisor fund managed by the Whitman Foundation. It was created to supplement the funding of operational expenses at the airport that cannot be used to create or to service debt. It requires county participation in funding the airport. That condition was in there primarily with the belief that the airport should remain a public asset and not be paid off and sold off as a private entity. There's no defined ratio between county funding and the grants. If we get in this rehab project, there's a period of time where we may have to shut the airport for 30 days. We may have to tap into this fund to continue to operate the airport. So there's tremendous latitude in how these funds are used. If we have an emergency, we can go in and ask for a special grant. I mentioned that we have purchased equipment, the sand spreader. The current fund balance currently is $511,000, and the funds that are available for 2013 are approximately $31,000. And we are going to take $31,000. Lance is the board member who serves on the advisory group in this particular account. The next one, again, sustainable funding. This was created in December of last year. It's the Ashtabula County Aviation Capital Expenditures Trust. Again, it's an advisory fund that was created to fund the local grant match requirements from the FAA, ODOT, or ODOT. This fund has a current balance of about $227,000. There's also, there's also $60,000 on the airport books. Those funds were donated by Morrison Foundation. So we have approximately $280,000 out of the $600,000 that we're going to need to execute the rehab of the runway. And the current balance on this one's just under $14,000. And I will say that John Morrison, who's our board member, is board advisor for this particular trust. This is another trust. This one's in draft mode. It's going to be executed here in the next, hopefully by the end of the month. Another advisor fund. Laura Jones will be the board member to represent the board for this trust. And this trust is to prepay principal on a USD loan that we took to build new hangars. This loan is a 30-year term, has an interest rate of 4.8%. It is secured by revenues of the airport. In 2012, our principal payment was $30,000, and our interest expense was $50,000. The problem with the $50,000 is, we have $600,000 in interest expenditure to go on this particular loan, and so the thrust of this trust is to prepay the principal, reduce the interest expense, which does us absolutely no good. Because we're not a private entity, there's no tax advantage, et cetera, tax and interest expense. Dave Price and I did talk to USADA a few years ago about asking if we could renegotiate the interest on this particular loan, and the answer was yes, but you're going to have to default first, and default is not occurred. So this is, I think, the best approach. We'll match money to prepay the principal and try to reduce the expenses. First item here is sustainable leadership. We could have all the money in the world, I don't care where it came from, whether it be the Morrison Foundation, the Cleveland Foundation, the Andrews Foundation, County. We have to have sustainable leadership. When Lance Bushwater, my VP, and I came on the board, there were 16, as I understand, there were 16 applications. When Laura and Al Pettin came on the board, there were 4. That is not a good situation. I've asked Laura to, frankly, develop a queue of talented people so that when we have vacancies on the board, that we have people lined up that have an interest in serving. Also attached to sustainable leadership is continuity and depth within the board. I don't operate Lone Ranger when we have discussion with ODOT or FAA. Laura Jones, Lance Bushweiler, and John Morrison are part of those communications. And the reason for that is Sue at some point in time is going to say that you got to go to Florida more often, and someone's going to run the show. So it truly is a big issue. We want to have a good leadership. I will tell you that it's our intent to comply with all state, federal, local, state, federal regulations and statutes, and that you may say, well, that's sort of a no-brainer. But one of the things we've been doing at the airport is trying to manage our risk. And if we don't catch these, stay in compliance, we truly run the risk of creating tremendous liabilities for not only the airport, but perhaps the county as a whole. So we're going to do the comply with whatever has been done here. And the same applies with the FAA ODOT grant assurances. Basically, the FAA views us as a business partner. They expect us to conduct ourselves as a business. That's part of the deal, taking the money. I have no problem with that. And so we're making a concerted effort to make sure that we are in compliance. One problem with the Boeing Airport is that we operate basically on a cash basis. And so we take money in, we spend money, we don't have any depreciation schedules, etc. So actually, as part of the second trust, the board is going to be required to have a listing of all our assets, initial costs, useful life, and a replacement schedule. We have buildings and equipment that are all types of vintages, and so we have to anticipate when they're going to need replacement and how we're going to fund it. Also part of the second trust is a early review by the board of business and marketing plans. We want to stay current. And we also want to have effective communications with the media, our customers, and the community. And we're going to do that by the website and social media. And whatever we're doing, what we want to do better, whether it be clearing the runway of snow and ice, how we handle our air customers, quality of our fuel, whatever we do, we want to do better. So that's just part of our mindset. At the end of the day, what we want to do is we have to execute this mission statement, which is the Ashtabula County Airport strives to be Northeast Ohio's first choice for business and personal air transportation, providing an economic engine for economic growth while maintaining operational safety, outstanding service, a safe environment for aircraft owners, operators, and the flying public. In summary, the Ashtabula County Airport Authority has taken positive, constructive, and long-lasting actions to project the Northeastern Ohio Regional Airport into the future as a vital economic development infrastructure asset. These actions are consistent with the vision as set forth in the Commissioner's funding resolution. Specifically, the authority should be a self-funded entity managed by talented individuals who donate their time and efforts for the collective best interest of the citizens of Ashtabula County. I think that is really where we're at. We have, in this one-page document, we have an asset that's worth over $15 million. If it goes away, it's never coming back. I think everyone's very aware of the economics, the condition of the county in terms of employment, et cetera. And without the airport, we're in one of the transportation assets will go away with everything. In closing, I'd like to say thank you. I want to first and foremost thank the taxpayers who help support the airport, our elected officials, county commissioners, Janet Fisher, Lisa Hawkins, Tim Martin. I have to tell you that whenever I give one of these individuals a call, they always are responsive, always willing to do whatever they can to help us. Certainly the county commissioners have been most cooperative in trying to allow us time to basically hit the reset button here and get back on track and do the right thing. I have to acknowledge my board members. I'm sort of like a conductor. I just wave the stick. And Lance and Laura and Dave Price, it's truly unbelievable the amount of time and effort they put into running the airport. So I thank you, and I will take any questions you may have. Yes, sir.
I just wanted to say that you can tell this is a real labor of love for you, and I think I'm not alone in the county. I'm always interested in reading about our airport, and so I just ask for you to keep the information going, get it into the paper, and keep it in the public eye. And I think there's a real interest in it. Good job.
It's a tremendous start. I mean, it's Mr. Morrison around in 1965. It's a good story. Any other questions? Yes.
Can you give us some idea of the amount of traffic that goes in and out of the airport by the month, so the public has some idea of the use of the airport?
Dave?
A lot of it depends on the weather. It's going to vary in terms of personal use of the airport and also business use. When we get into the corporate jets that are a little bit more capable with private people have. We probably get 15, 20 jets a month in.
Our recollection, I thought Cleveland's report had like 14,000 operations. That's actually in the presentation which you didn't see this morning from Randall Weedman. Had all the pictures and graphics, and I'll get you the information. But as I recall, around 14,000 operations every night. And I think Dave mentioned that recently we had a spike in IFR traffic.
This fall, it's I think a lot of the utility of the airport's tied up on our instrument approaches, so when the weather's bad, you can still run the airport. This year we saw a change in the fall where it didn't drop off like it normally does. So the number of movements we count there stayed up, and these are generally people that are using aircraft for transportation, especially business customers. They tend to come a longer distance, so they buy more gas. They're also more demanding of services, which we can charge for too. So it's pretty positive change this year in the fall in terms of people on instruments like cleaners using the airport.
I think a big thank you to those people who contribute donations to the airport. I think it's marvelous and spectacular and needs to be taken note.
Absolutely. You know, prior to the creation of these trusts, the Morrison Foundation donated approximately $500,000 over a 10-year period to the airport. So it is, and the Andrews Foundation, and there's others probably that are in there that we don't, that aren't recognized here. But it's a unique situation. I've been told it's unique to this airport. So, yes, baby.
Well, I would just like to say, on behalf of Dwight and the board, he's very humble, the time that they put into this. And, you know, you always read in the paper that the commissioners are saying this and that, but we really are very supportive and we appreciate all the work that is done. And it is a great asset to the community, so you can line up and donate afterwards. You know, I think this is really a worthwhile project for Ashtabula County, so we do appreciate you.
Thank you. Any questions? Back to you.
So I would also, in following up with Mr. Clump's words, I would truly be remiss in not extending a huge thank you to Dwight and Sue Bowden, not only for their foresight and generosity that has helped in establishing the Ashtabula County Airport Authority, but with really the means and ability to run a professional, safe airport and really poise us for the future. And when we talk about the legacy of the founders of the airport and the document, the resolution establishing the airport, it was that vision and that leadership that did so. And it's really the vision and the leadership that Dwight has given us as board members to really move forward into the coming years and be that economic development driver, you know, from the infrastructure standpoint as well. And really, I'd like to offer a big round of applause to Dwight and the board for their leadership.